The unfortunate part about growing up in these environments in the inner city is that the ones that also become your idols and people that are these hustlers. Because why? As soon as you come outside, you see them every day, all day. You see them, you realize, and now as you keep getting older, now you're 12, you're 30, you realize, I live in this 1-bedroom apartment, roaches, mice, whatever, right? And you come outside, you see these guys with the flashy cars, all the women like them, all the jewelry, right? They're having the time of their lives and everything is hunky-dory. And you want to be like them. You want what they have. You tired of living the way you live. The scary part about it is you're only 13 and this is 12 and 13. This is how you feel already. And yes, not just myself, even my peers. That's what we wanted to do. And that's what we decided that we thought that's what we needed to do so we could look good going to school, so we don't have to want or beg and ask your parent, your mom, and you already know the answer if you ask her. So yes, we decide, this is what we want to do. This is what we're going to indulge in. Unfortunate for them and for me is I always had a safety to run back to, and that was that basketball. That was that basketball. And I always was able to run back to that whenever need be.
Okay, so eventually you went to high school, Benjamin and Cardoza?
Yeah.
Cardoza High School. You go to high school and you have a very well-known coach, Ron Naclerio. Mm-hmm. And he was almost like one of the main guys that would be spotting new talent. What was that experience like once you got to that level?
So my high school coach, Ron Naclerio, I met him in junior high school. So the junior high school where I went, so junior high school 8, it's Richard S. Grossley. It's called Intermediate School 8. In the neighborhood, we call it IS 8. So when I went to that school, the talent that was in that school was unreal. It was unreal. It was so many of us from the neighborhoods. We all knew each other, knew of each other, and the talent was incredible. Like practice or tryouts was a war in there because we all could play, we all was good. So he would always come to our school, even before I got there, to get the kids to come all the way to Benjamin Cardoza High School. What the problem is Benjamin Cardoza High School is in a predominantly white suburban neighborhood. We all come from low income, impoverished neighborhood in Southside Jamaica, Queens. And not many of us adapt well. The commute, we got to take 2 buses. And, so a lot of us don't adapt well in that area. Not that we had any racial tension. It's just that our comfort zone. A lot of us are comfortable in the environment. For me, meeting him and everything was wonderful. I knew he came and got a couple of kids that were older than me from my neighborhood. Guy by the name of Raheem Oates, Gary Rush. They were going to the school already. They were juniors and seniors. So, Coach, I could lean on those guys to go to that school. They told me all about the school, all about Coach, how wacky, how crazy he is. He's yelling and screaming and kicking things, throwing chairs and everything. So, but we come from an environment that didn't bother us. Like, we seen the worst. And he knew my talent was there. He knew how good I was at the time. He knew how good I can be. And he always was on my back about, doing the right thing, staying out of trouble, and just, keep working on my game. And he's another one that, Coach Naclerio he's another one that, from the time they laid eyes on me, I was one of those guys to them in their eyes that this could be the next kid that makes it out this neighborhood.
Well, he ended up actually recording you on VHS tapes. And he sent those tapes to AND1.
Yeah, he's one of the guys.
Okay, and this was while you were still in high school or afterwards?
Some of it was when I was in high school.
Okay.
Some of the footage is when I was in high school. It's like summertime of my junior year, and then it's the summer of my senior year.
Okay, because you ended up graduating, and then you went to Ventura College in California?
Well, I didn't graduate.
Oh,
Nah.
okay. So what happened?
So when I went to the Cardozo High School, my first 2 years I played. My first year I played. Him and I were getting back and forth because I felt I was one of the best guards. I was better than the senior at the time, but he felt I was small, I was thin, I needed to learn, which was okay, cool. But then my sophomore year, I was the man of the team. I was averaging 25 points per game. I played the whole year. We lost in the playoffs. It was my junior year, that's when I started being more of a truant. I wasn't going to every class. Some days for days I wouldn't even show up to school. I was caught up with how my home life was going. Then I was caught up hanging out all night with my friends in my neighborhood. So I missed out a lot of my junior and senior years. So it forced me to bounce to different schools, different high school. I mean, I even went to a prep school in Laurinburg, North Carolina. So I ended up going way out there to try to salvage my high school. But then Laurinburg's like a country town, like it had chickens running across the road, and I'm a city kid. So there's a lot of things I like. So I had my mother and some people send me some money through the Western Union. And the Western Union was in the Greyhound bus station. I took the money from one thing, went to the other line and got my bus ticket and got on the bus and came on home by myself. So my mother, I'm knocking on the door. She's like, who is it? I said, it's me. She's going crazy. What are you doing here? You're supposed to be at school. I said, I can't deal with that country stuff. So I end up coming back to New York, get my GED and going to Ventura Junior College.
Aha. Okay, right. Because then you went to Fresno City College, then Fresno State University.
Right, exactly.
I mean, someone at your skill level, and here you are sort of near the end of your kind of school, basketball journey. You're right there at the point of potentially being drafted to a major university and really going to that next level and going straight to the NBA draft after maybe even a year or two. What caused you to kind of drop the ball near the end there and then having to end up going to some of these, not top-notch schools at that point?
Well, my grades were bad. So those schools back off you. So throughout my travels in high school, I played AAU ball. And I would, no matter where, I was playing at Riverside Church, and no matter where they took me, I would show up and show out. They took me to Lubbock, Texas. We had an AAU tournament at that time. It was called the BCI, and we playing against some of the top-notch basketball players. Guys like Antoine Walker was in that tournament. Chauncey Billups, a lot of these different guys. Samaki Walker. These are names of guys that played in the NBA even when I got there. All right, so we all around the same age. We're playing this age, and I'm doing my thing. They take me to Virginia to a Boo Williams tournament, and I play against Allen Iverson, Tony Rutland, and I'm doing my thing as well. Even though they're doing their thing, I'm doing my thing as well. So the talent was always there. People knew how good I was. The grades wasn't there. So now I'm forced to go to JUCO, and I'm like, okay, now I have to buckle down and take care of the bit. And school was never the problem. It's not. I don't have a learning disability. I could comprehend. I could pick. I majored in psychology, so I took on the challenges of school when in college. It's just in high school attending, staying away from what my friends in the neighborhood were doing, and do what the kids in the school were doing. That was my issue in high school. So I didn't have the grades to go to those big time schools, so there was no reason for them to recruit me. So when I went to junior college, everything worked out. I mean, I was doing what I needed to do in the classroom and on the court. And those same schools were coming back around once they realized that where I was at, and I was a JUCO All-American.
There you have it. Okay, so did you actually graduate from college?
No, I left after my junior year, and then I ended up doing my classes online and picking up my degree that way. But I left after my junior year, and I played in the NBA for so long that I had to go back online and do those classes.